Sophia looked at her son with an affectionate and slightly reproachful look, and Harry, already a grown man, stood in front of her, bowed his head, and quietly uttered bitter words. "Forgive me, Mother. I have behaved like the last scoundrel, and I do not want to justify myself. I went away. I left you. I left you alone, and I will never forgive myself. Mommy, if I had only known that it would turn out this way. Would I have been able to betray you, to hurt you, to forget you? Oh, Mom, how can I beg your forgiveness?" Harry looked once more into his mother's eyes, then walked over and touched her cheek. The cold marble burned his palm, but Harry did not remove his hand. He stroked the portrait again and again as if he were trying to remove a disobedient strand from his mother's forehead, frozen in the dark stone. A fractured cry burst from his chest, and, unable to hold back any longer, Harry buried himself against his mother's grave and wept heavily and hopelessly. The tears brought no relief, and an acute sense of shame tore his soul apart. "Mommy, Harry repeated. What should I do?" Don't cry, a voice sounded, and Harry, startled by surprise, turned around and saw a girl about 7 years old in front of him. She was standing there, her eyes wide open, looking at him, which on her skinny face seemed enormous. What did you say?" Harry asked, not believing the reality of what was happening. "Grown men aren't supposed to cry. It's not like you were beaten up." "I wish they had," sighed Harry, got up from his knees, and sat down on the bench near the grave. "Who are you, and what are you doing here?" "I'm Sophia." "What?" Harry exclaimed again, stunned by the new coincidence. "My mother's name was also Sophia. She's buried right here. But tell me, what are you doing here?" "I'm collecting." "What do you mean?" "It's just, I'm scared on the street, but I'm not scared here. People often come here, and everyone is kind. And I say, as my grandmother taught me, give to good people for the glory of your loved ones." "Uh-oh, you're so little. How can you not be afraid? A cemetery, after all." "I'm hungry. I'd like some money for your mother's glory." "Sophia, my little one, why don't you show me where you live? I want to talk to your grandmother. We'll buy some groceries and take her to your house. Do you want to?" "I do," said Sophia, and trustingly took Harry's hand. They stopped at the store, and Harry bought a lot of groceries, and for the girl the most delicious things she wanted. Then Sophia showed her little house, which was really not far from the cemetery. The girl ran into the yard and began calling for her grandmother. "Grandma Ava! Grandma Ava! Look what we've brought! This man is very kind." A tall, bulky old woman came to the doorstep and grabbed the girl's hand. "Where have you been, parasite?" "Actually," Harry answered for the girl, "Sophia said that it was you who sent her to beg. And in what a terrible place. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Do you really have such a plight that the girl is starving? You can't tell that you are malnourished, but Sophia is practically shining through." "Who are you to tell me what to do? Go away and I'll figure out how to bring her up myself." "Look at him," the old woman said angrily. "Are you going to help us?" "I will, just don't shout, please, and don't let Sophia go outside again. She's so little, and there are so many dangers outside. Here's enough food for a few days, and then I'll bring you more." "What a benefactor you are! All right, Sophia, go inside, and you, kind man, go back to your place. You've helped me once, and I'll pay you. We used to live without you," said Grandmother Ava, and left after the girl, remembering to take some packages with presents. Harry, distraught, returned to his car and, as he drove away from Sophia's house, called his friend, Nicola, and told him what had happened. "You're crazy, Harry," Nicola scolded him. "Do you want to get yourself in trouble? You're a grown man, and here's a little girl. Do you know what they can say? And you take her with you, a stranger. Go shopping with her." "How can I adopt her?" "Harry, are you listening to me? You've known her for 1 hour. No one's going to let you do that, especially since she has a living grandmother. Harry, darling, you helped this girl, you bought her groceries. That's enough from her. Buddy, please, get married. Let your girlfriend give you a lot of kids. You need a family, Harry. I hear you, Nicola, but what kind of mother is my girlfriend? All she wants to do is go clubbing, and I feel sorry for the girl. She's so pretty, but skinny. She's starving. God, it makes my heart bleed when I think about it. Harry, let's meet and talk. When are you coming back? Later in the evening. Pick me up at 7 at the Grail restaurant. I'll already be there. Harry agreed and disconnected the call. Thinking about Sophia, Harry returned his thoughts to his late mother. Today was the anniversary of her death, and it was the first time he had come to see her. The first time he had laid flowers and asked for forgiveness. But could he be forgiven? His mother, who was also called Sophia, had raised her son alone, never having been married to Harry's father. She got pregnant by chance, but she did not blame anybody for it, and she adored her son. Once his mother, Sophia, worked as a maid in a hotel where she could not resist a handsome grown-up man named Edward. He came to the city on business, developing his business, and could not help being attracted to the pretty maid. On his first visit, she did not reciprocate, but he came again and again, and one day she could not resist. Since then, she lived from meeting to meeting with her lover. Edward was much older than Sophia, but she liked it. She was bored with silly young guys. 3 years of short meetings ended with Sophia's pregnancy. But Edward was not happy about it and said that he already had heirs and didn't need others. He never came back. Sophia cried, suffered, and longed for Edward, whom she truly loved. And when her due date came, she gave birth to a beautiful and strong Harry. Years passed in caring for her beloved son. Sophia and Harry lived poorly. Her mother's salary was barely enough to make her boy look as good as anyone else. She had long ago sold all Edward's gifts, gold ornaments and expensive memorabilia. And she never married, could not let another man into her heart, justifying her beloved by the fact that he was a mere victim of circumstances and could not do otherwise. She resigned herself to the fact that she would never see him again. But he came. Sophia gasped when she saw Edward and bit her lip, thinking how old he had grown. But still, it was her Edward. And he looked at the young, still attractive woman and said quietly, "Hello, Sophia. Do you recognize me?" And was immediately dumbfounded because a handsome young boy, his perfect copy, his son, who even bit his lips the same way as his father, came out of the small kitchen. "I recognize you, Edward. As you can see, I had a constant reminder of you in front of me. Our son, Harry." "Daddy? So you're my father?" Harry looked up at the man standing in front of him in surprise. "And why did you come?" "To ask your forgiveness and to tell you how sorry I was for making the wrong choice." Then they sat for a long time at the table set by Sophia and talked quietly, without shouting reproaches or unnecessary insults. Sophia and Harry told Edward how they had been living all the time, and he told them the bitter story of his life. "I was married, Sophia, when I started dating you. I wasn't married by choice, but by the laws of business. You know how it is when money meets money. Emily and I never loved each other, but we had to play the happy couple. Right after we got married, she gave birth to my son. I was proud of it, my firstborn son after all. Only a few years later, it turned out that he had a serious illness, of a mental nature. I felt sorry for my wife, she was suffering so much. But my son had to be placed in an institution. It took 7 years before Emily decided to give birth again. Now they were twin girls, and everything seemed fine. But when they were 10 years old, it turned out that they were not from me. Emily got them pregnant by some French guy. Of course, I made a scandal and kicked my wife out. She accused me of ruining her life. When she was young, she loved another man and had her first son with him. You see, Sophia, I gave up my own son for other people's children. I raised them, and my own," Edward sighed. "Please forgive me. And now I've come for a reason. I'm very rich. I have my own empire, and I want my only son to inherit everything after me." "You want to take my son away from me?" Sophia stood up and her lips trembled. "So it's all for his sake. Harry will have everything and more. I'm not eternal, and he'll get the whole business. Everything, literally everything I have." "No, Daddy, I'm not going. You come here. I'll be glad to see you, but I won't leave my mother." Edward muttered, "I understand you, son. But we will buy Mom a nice apartment and give her a lot of money. She will not need anything. She will go on vacation, see the world. And you and I will work. Work hard to make you like me. Don't say anything now, just think about it. Go away, Edward. I don't want anything from you. No apartments, no money. I'll live here in my father's house, and I won't go anywhere. And our son will stay with me. But Harry didn't stay. He wasn't himself for a few days, and then he packed a small bag and told his mother that he just wanted to see how his father lived. He said goodbye and left, and she stood at the door and looked after him for a long time, not even knowing that she would never see her son again. A few days later, a girl of about 17 knocked on Sophia's door and asked where Harry was and when she could see him. Sophia knew her. It was Jessica, a pupil of the orphanage. "Come in, Jessica. I've just got the kettle boiling," said Sophia sadly. "And Harry isn't here. He's gone to his father, and I don't know when he'll be back. Well, let's sit and talk to you. I had a problem today. Can you imagine? I drowned my phone in the well. Harry won't be able to call." The embarrassed guest went into the house. They talked for a long time about everything, and then Sophia asked Jessica to visit her more often because she was so lonely, and the girl willingly responded to her invitations. And then she disappeared too. Years passed. At first, Harry missed his mother and several times even wanted to go to her, but business and new events forced him to postpone the trip till later. Now Harry and his father spent a lot of time abroad, and Harry learned languages and the basics of business. And Edward was proud to introduce him to his friends and partners, especially since he really had something to be proud of. Harry was not like their spoiled sons, majors, and surprised everyone with his seriousness and business acumen. And so recently, Harry returned to Russia. He also wanted to take his mother with him and do everything to make her happy. His father wasn't against it. Harry bought gifts and came home to his village. Only his little house looked abandoned, uninhibited. The yard was overgrown with grass, the shutters were boarded up. Harry helplessly turned around and saw his neighbor, who was looking at him judgingly, shaking her head. "You're back, then." "Back? Aunt Olivia, and where? Mother?" "In the cemetery. Where else would she be, now that she's dead? Your mother was sick. She was very ill. Something ate her up inside. She was sick for 2 years, and then we buried her in spring. I think she missed you, Harry. How could you leave your mother? The only joy she had was in you." Harry listened to his neighbor's reproaches in confusion, then took out the gifts he had bought for Mother and gave them to Olivia. The old woman softened, thanked, and told him how the whole village buried Sophia, then went with Harry to the cemetery. For the next few days, Harry was busy installing a monument for his mother, and on the last day before he left, he came to say goodbye to her. And immediately he met Sophia, a beggar. The poor girl with amazingly clear eyes fell deep into his heart, and no matter how much Nicola dissuaded him, a week later Harry went to see the little girl again. But Grandma Ava would not let him even on the doorstep. "She's sick. There's no reason to visit her." "What are you talking about? She is sick, so you need to call a doctor to her." Harry was indignant. "And if you do not want me to raise a fuss in the neighborhood, let me go to the girl." The old woman, grumbling, relented. Harry went in and saw Sophia lying on the old ramshackle couch. "Uncle Harry," she rejoiced, greeting him with a weak smile. "And Grandma Ava said you wouldn't come, and beat me." "What? How dare you?" Harry ranted when he saw the girl's bruises. "She's your only granddaughter. Aren't you ashamed, you shameless girl?" "Am I shameless? She's nothing to me. I've never even had children, so I'm the one who's been cheated. They promised to pay, to take her back in a couple of years. And that's it. No money, no help. Do I have to feed her? I can barely make ends meet. That's the thanks I get for all the years of covering up other people's sins." Harry took money out of his pocket and threw it on the table. The old woman's eyes glistened greedily, and he, without saying a word, picked up the girl in his arms and carried her to the car. And then he took Sophia back to his house. 3 years passed. Sophia has long been Harry's daughter. He filed all the necessary papers, and now he was no longer afraid that someone would take his little girl. Sophia quickly recovered and became very pretty. The servants in Harry's house loved the kind and inquisitive girl. Often they flew together to Grandfather Edward, and the old man is very fond of a named granddaughter. and her father surrounded his adopted daughter with love and care. She had the best tutors and professional nannies. Sophia was taken to school and to all kinds of activities by her personal driver. Harry wanted to give the girl everything, and when on the anniversary of his mother's death Harry visited her grave, at length talked about his daughter's progress. And this time Harry brought Mother a bouquet, and as always, sat down on the bench next to the monument. "Here I am again, Mother." "Harry?" Harry turned around abruptly and saw a young, poorly dressed woman in front of him. She was leaning on a stick and limping badly. Despite the fact that she had changed a lot, Harry recognized her at once and exclaimed in surprise, "Jessica? But how are you here? And what happened to you?" "Many things, Harry. I came here to visit my Aunt Sophia, the only person who treated me well." "Jessica. You know, Harry, it's good that I found you here at your mother's, and our meeting was no coincidence. I have a confession to make. Do you remember me, Harry, when I was 17? Do you remember our walks and our place under the willows by the river?" "I remember." "You got me pregnant, Harry." "What? How?" "Like everyone else. And as soon as I guessed it, I ran to you, but you left with your father and didn't even think of saying goodbye to me. Your mother greeted me as if I were her own daughter. But I didn't tell her about the pregnancy either. I was afraid of something. It could have been different, but I was young and stupid." "And the baby? A baby?" I don't know, cried Jessica. "How is it?" "The director of the orphanage guessed that I was pregnant and, being afraid of publicity, took me away. But she wouldn't take me back to the orphanage either, and she convinced me that it was better to hide the fact that I was pregnant. And then I gave birth to a baby girl, my Sophia. I named our daughter after your mother." "What happened next? What happened next?" "Nothing happened. They took me to the orphanage to make sure I was okay. I had to graduate without breaking the orphanage's strict accountability. Sophia stayed with an old lady, a former nurse who worked for us. She had retired by then, and then I was told that she had gone somewhere and taken Sophia with her. I looked everywhere but couldn't find them. I was just desperate. One day I saw this old woman in town, rushed after her across the street, and got hit by a car. Injuries, long treatment, now this limp. The bones are not properly fused. But as soon as I could move, I went looking for my daughter and the old woman again. And I found them. But I was too late. Some man had taken our daughter, and no one knew where he had taken her. That's what the old woman said. I don't believe her, and I watched the house for days, but Sophia never showed up." Harry listened intently to Jessica and was silent, but gradually his face lightened and the wrinkles that had gathered on his forehead smoothed. And Jessica began to speak, pleadingly stretching out her hands to him. "Harry, Harry, I see that you are rich. And what a nice monument Aunt Sophia has. And your car, so expensive, is at the gate of the cemetery. It's your car, right? Harry, help me find our girl. We won't claim anything. Your wife, your family will never know of our existence. If I could, I would kneel down before you. Harry, for the sake of our love. I'm so afraid that trouble has happened to Sophia. Who is this man? Why did he take her? Harry!" Jessica cried, panting. Harry held out his hand to Jessica. "I'm not married, Jessica. I never was. My fiancé ran away after I had my daughter Sophia. Jessica, don't you worry, but 3 years ago I met a girl here in the cemetery. A beggar girl. I felt sorry for her. She was living with some old woman. The wicked old woman was beating the girl, making her starve and ask for alms. She was just transparent, so sickly thin and bruised. I'll never forget how she, miserable and pathetic, curled up in a ball on the dirty couch. I took the little girl and adopted her. Now Sophia is unrecognizable. She's beautiful and looks a lot like my mother and like you. I just realized it now. Jessica, can you hear me? I found our daughter. She's at my house and now we'll go to her. Jessica. But the woman could no longer hear him. Her eyes closed, her legs buckled, and she would have fallen to the ground if Harry had not picked her up in time. Jessica was unconscious, and a few hours later, mother and daughter laughed and cried with joy, hugging each other. DNA tests confirmed the kinship of Harry, Jessica, and Sophia, and the whole family soon went abroad, where the best surgeons returned to Jessica's health. The lameness disappeared, and with it the despair, grief and sadness. Harry's father could not be happy about such a miracle. Harry and Jessica played a beautiful wedding on the ocean, and soon their family had a little son, whom the happy parents named after their grandfather, Edward.